Hey everyone, so today I wanted to go over how I use Twitter. So this has been something that I've been thinking about and wondering, how other people use Twitter. So I figured the best way to find out how other people use Twitter is to show how I use it. So what I use to manage my Twitter account is called Tweetdeck, and there's a variety of different tools. You can use Hootsuite, which I have open up here. And there's other tools as well that you can use to manage your Twitter account, and all of them do different things and also similar things. So it just depends on what you want. There's really, I feel like, no right way or wrong way to use Twitter. It's up to you, and so I'm just going to show you guys how I use my Tweetdeck. So Tweetdeck is a great way to help you get launched into using Twitter because it helps you to organize things and make digesting the information and finding information easier. So I use my Twitter to connect with other people, to share what I'm working on, and also to learn. So not only from things like Twitter chats, but also from things like tutorials that get posted in my tech and learning newsfeed. And I have these different columns here, and they're each for different things. So the first column is my whole list of learning professionals. So it's not people that I follow, it's an actual list that I created. And then my learning tech news is another list of tech companies that I also created a list of, and in the middle I have my notifications, and I can move these around however I want, and I can add way more columns as well. So the first thing that I wanted to do is cover the columns. So when I go to add a column, you'll see there's a variety of different kinds of columns I can add here. So I can add one of the ones that I use a lot is search. So search is going to be able to search for like specific hashtags. Like I can search for the hashtag guild chat, and I can add this column there, and this will help me during one of my Twitter chats. So a Twitter chat is something that comes about by one or more people who manage an account that leads a chat. So if I scroll through here, on Fridays there is a Twitter chat by Guild Chat, and I'll use this this column to look through these. So in the Twitter chats you'll see people answering with an A and a number, so that means answer 7 for question 7. So at one point in here you'll just watch it as it goes, because this is a live thing that you participate in. So you'll watch it as it goes, and the chat will say, they'll hashtag this guild chat, and they'll put Q7, so that means question 7, and then you'll respond with a tweet, and you'll say A7, and you'll type out your answer, and then you'll put the hashtag guild chat, and it will show up in real time over on there, and everyone who's following this hashtag over there can see what your answer is. So that's one way that I learn from other people, and there's not just learning chats. There's chats about coding, there's chats about, nostalgia, there's chats about millennials, there's chats about just about anything, and all you have to do is go to Google and Google what kinds of Twitter chats there are. So that's one way that I use Twitter. And then another way is with these lists here. So the difference between lists and following people is people that you follow, you can have a stream of them going here, but typically I don't really. So I have a lot of people that I follow, as you can see, and a lot of people that follow me back. But if you saw like 7,000 people were posting, it would just go like really, really fast, and so I wouldn't be able to catch up with what everyone's doing. It would be almost impossible. So what I do instead of looking at my followers is I create these lists. So how do you create a list? There's lists that are already created, so you can use those and subscribe to those and put them on here. You can create your own lists, or I'll show you here. So let's see where I can find one of my lists. Lists here. So these are lists that I'm subscribed to here. So if I'm subscribed to a list, so say I want to know what the people in Macy's 30 under 30 have been tweeting about, I can add this list to my column. So you'll see all these people who have been in 30 under 30 in the past or who are tweeting, you can see what they are tweeting about. So all you have to do is find a list out there. So I might find a list that I want to subscribe to follow. Let's go. So I would go back to Twitter and I would find a list like this one that has 944 members in learning tech for 2016. I'd click subscribe, and then what I would do is I'd go back to my Tweetdeck, and then that would show up here. So let's go and find that under my lists. So here it is right here, and I can add that column to the right hand side, and now I can see everything that these people are posting about. But for me, I typically just create my own lists because I want to see specific people that I'm following and specific people that I interact with on a daily basis, and also my learning and tech news. The way that you can find lists from different people is you want to go to find someone who probably has a lot of followers or interacts on Twitter a lot. So I'll look at Brent Schlenker here, and Brent, you'll see that he has quite a bit of lists. So you can see here under Brent that he has 29 here. So with this, what you can see is these are all of the lists that he's subscribed to. So he manually went in here and subscribed to these lists. Then you can see what he's a member of. So when you become a member of a list, that means that you have been added by people. So this list could go on forever and ever and ever. People will add you to the list depending on what hashtags you use and things like that. So that's what this is. You can see that there's quite a bit. So I might not want to subscribe to something like that. I might want to subscribe to something that someone has actually gone and subscribed to, like Brent's subscribed to. And then another thing that I like to do is, like looking at Brent's profile here, you can see specific things that he's interested in, so e-learning, training, and all of that. So the way that I find people to follow is I might Google, top people to follow in the training industry, or I might follow top graphic designers if I'm into graphic design or something like that, or top tutorial blogs to follow or something like that for my actually like learning tech list. And then if you want to create your own list on Twitter that you can put onto your Tweetdeck, what you want to do is you can go into your lists, and then you can go to the right hand side, so lists here, and create a new list. And you can call it whatever you want, give it a description, and then whenever you see someone tweet, like I'll see someone tweet on Twitter somewhere, or find them somehow through Twitter. If you click on them on Twitter or on TweetDeck, you can click. So Charles here, I can click, and then I can go to add or remove from lists, and you can do this with anyone. So Charles here is on my learning professionals list because he's a learning professional, and so basically I added him to that list, and when he tweets I can see his tweets coming through here. And if you look at some of my lists, you can see I follow 7,500 people, but in reality I really only may look at 212 people that are tweeting. Or I may go glance at this, but it goes so quickly that I can't see it. And then also for followers, you want to have a ratio that makes sense. So you want to have either more people following you than you're following them, or you want to have it be pretty even. And then, because I think there is a cap if you're following more people than are following you, there's some sort of cap that goes along with that, or at least there was. And then also you can see that I'm a member of a bunch of lists here. So so that's mostly it for what I use on TweetDeck. There's a lot of other pieces of TweetDeck. So there's lots of other things, like you can schedule tweets, and you can change your settings to look differently and act differently. But for the most part, I think that's a pretty good overview of TweetDeck.